Good day, mate. Yeah, that's my attempt at really bad Australia, but whatever. The last chapter, chapter 16, is on Australia, Oceania, and Antarctica. So a whole bunch of stuff kind of thrown together. Elizabeth, that's my high schooler's curriculum last year, made the point that some people are now saying that Australia is part of the continent Oceania instead of it being its own continent. That actually the continent is Oceania and that Australia is part of it. Here we go messing with my continents. I mean, it's bad enough we've started adding oceans, but just throwing out there. So if you hear that, that's the way that is. Whenever we start a new unit, you always have the first page 290 with its map that points out some of the things you're going to see. So it's got the picture of Papua New Guinea there with a traditional New Guinean costume, the lorikeet, clownfish, Great Barrier Reef, Uluru Rock, kangaroo, farmers shearing sheep, Tasmanian devil, then from Antarctica, of course, the South Pole, and icebergs and penguins. Don't forget on page 291 to read this little box right here with the little bullets that tells you some facts about Australia, Oceania, and Antarctica. Kind of an interesting combination to be thrown together there. Chapter 16, the land down under and beyond. In the early days of ocean travel, sailors had not ventured much beyond the equator. And they liked to stay close to land. They didn't like to really explore. They got kind of scared if they got too far away from land, because we're talking the early days. That means there was not the modern equipment like we have now for navigation. There was no modern radio system to radio back for help. You get too far from land, and you get in trouble, you're just in trouble. There's not really going to be any way to let anybody know. So they hadn't ventured much beyond the equator, hadn't ventured very far from known places. The southern areas of the Pacific Ocean had never been mapped out, and no one knew for sure what lands, if any, existed there. However, people believed that there must be an unknown land below the equator to balance the lands of the northern hemisphere. The idea of this unknown land continued through the years until the early 1600s, when seamen anchored off the west coast of Australia. Then in the 1700s, Captain James Cook, the famous English sea captain, who was the greatest explorer of his time, landed on Australia's east coast. That's pretty late. I mean, if you think about it, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, so we're talking 200 years later when Captain Cook discovers Australia. That's only 76 years before the writing of the Declaration of Independence. So it was pretty late in the discovering of lands that Australia was discovered. Then it goes on with 16.1, Australia, the island continent. It points out that it's home to some of the world's most unusual animals, along with a variety of landscapes and different culture. Australia is very, very interesting. Then you'll read 293 about the land, the climate, some of the different areas, the Murray River, the Western Plateau, opposite seasons. Since Australia is in the southern hemisphere, its seasons are just the opposite of those in Europe, Asia, and North America. Christmas comes in the summer, which lasts from December to February. Winter extends from June to August, so just the opposite. We're heading into summer come June, and they would be heading into winter come June. Sorry, I gotta get all my papers straight here. Earlier in this week, actually this week up to today, has all been about you just working on stuff. Working on simple solutions, and then working on getting your skill sheets done. So remember, due today, Thursday, is skill sheet 30 and 31. Due tomorrow is skill sheet 32. and then the last of the skill sheets will be due May the 1st. As far as the last skill sheets go, I don't have my book in front of me, but the last skill sheets, which are the review ones, what I'm saying is, I am guessing, the email has not come out yet, but I am guessing that we will have another turn-in date where the boxes will be out in front of entrance A on May the 1st, and so you'll just turn in your entire skill sheet book on that day. Tomorrow, Friday, I won't make a video, so I'm just going to kind of tell you about tomorrow as well while I'm at it. Years ago, I found on YouTube an entire video on Australia. I've never actually taken the time to watch the entire thing. But what I have done is, actually what my husband's done, is divide it up into sections. And as we read about something in the book, if I have a video that goes with it, I'll just attach that video for you to watch. So tomorrow you'll read 295 about the Great Barrier Reef, and then I'll attach a video for you to watch about the Great Barrier Reef. I think this is just an amazing video that I found. I'm sure there's a way you could go back and figure out what the video is and watch the entire almost 2-hour thing if you wanted to. But I'm just going to give you little segments as we go through. So that's what you'll see tomorrow. So see you next week. Keep working on the skill sheets and the country questions that are due on Friday.